What is up, ladies and gentlemen? It is October 8th. It is Monday. It is a brand new week in the VR gaming world, and we do have some interesting things that are going to jump off this week. In fact, tomorrow on the 9th, Evasion will be available. Evasion will be available, and the embargo has been lifted on Evasion. And you know what? My apologies. I have not reached out to Archiac to try to get a code for Evasion. I just kind of forgot about it. And so I'm going to have to shoot them off an email right after this show here, see if I can get a code for Evasion so I can check that out and give you guys my thoughts on that tomorrow. And then another thing that we have going on this week is the Great C. The Great See You in Toledo. No, The Great C by Secret Location, which is the adaptation of Philip K. Dick, the sci-fi novelist, a short story called The Great C. That is going to be available tomorrow, as far as I know, on Steam. And I do have that. I have not checked it out yet. VR Roundtable was provided with a preview code for The Great C, so I will be checking that out later today. I have it downloaded. I actually was going to check it out last night and didn't end up getting a chance to do it, but I'll be able to check it out later today, and I will certainly be talking about it tomorrow. I'm trying to check out their Steam page real quick to see. Yeah, so let me switch over to the Steam page real quick. So going over here, here is the Steam page for The Great C, based on the sci-fi short story by Philip K. Dick. This is going to be available tomorrow. This game will unlock in approximately 22 hours. Don't know that it's actually a game. It is a 30-minute experience developed from the ground up to push the boundaries of storytelling in VR. And I don't know if there's a price on this. I don't know if this is going to be free. Is it going to be 10 bucks, 15 bucks? Who knows? I have no idea, but I know this will be available tomorrow. So we'll figure out what is going on with that pretty soon. And let me go ahead and might as well check out the Evasion page for tomorrow. Let's see what's going on over that with that there. And so this is the Evasion Steam page for Archiac. I believe this is going to be on PlayStation VR, Oculus Rift, Steam, coming to all the major platforms tomorrow. Not seeing a price here, but I think it's $29.99. I mean, don't quote me on that, but I think it might be $29.99. There probably is a PlayStation. A lot of times PlayStation will have the price early, so let me see if I can find out the PlayStation price for Evasion. And yeah, oh, you know what? Evasion on the PlayStation Store, $33.99. So it is $33.99. Here it is on the PlayStation Store, $33.99. Its normal price is 40 buccarinos, but you save 5% with PlayStation Plus. So I guess this is a $39.99 game. So certainly not a cheap game, not for the faint of heart. That is Evasion, but it is probably one of the biggest releases that we are going to have for this next week. We don't really have a ton of major primetime games coming in the month of October. October is a relatively light month overall, and Evasion probably is the biggest game, and I'm excited for it. You know, there's already reviews on like Upload VR and stuff like that, so it kind of seems like a bullet hell kind of a space shooter. Phil Yarn says it looks like a mixture between Farpoint and Space Pirate Trainer, so an interesting mixture there. But yeah, the price is pretty freaking steep at 39, you know, 40 bucks. 40 bucks, you're expecting like Lone Echo 2 for 40 bucks. You're expecting Defector for 40 bucks. You're expecting Blood and Truth for 40 bucks, you know, for PlayStation VR. Astro Bot is 40 bucks. You're expecting a real primetime game for 40 bucks. And Evasion could be that. It really could. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. We'll see what happens there. But yeah, so we got a lot of people in chat right now. And I got to tell you, I'm a little bit late starting off today's show. My hair is wet. I just kind of jumped out of the shower. And you know what? Man, it is pretty harsh when you're scrambling to get ready because you know you're supposed to do a show at 11 a.m. I'm supposed to do this live stream every day at 11 a.m. Saturday is noon, and then, you know, Sunday we follow VR Roundtable. But basically every day 11 a.m., right? And sometimes 11 a.m. will sneak up on my ass in a major way because I usually around 10 a.m. I got to go take my son to college, drop him off so he doesn't have to worry about parking and all of that. And then I drive back. I still had to jump in the shower, got out of the shower. It was like 10:45. I'm like, damn, I got to do a show in 15 minutes. I'm freaking wet. And then I get all hot and sweaty. And it's like the exact opposite of what you want to do. And it's like, it's not hot. It's not hot at my house. You know, it's cool weather. But here I am sweating because I'm trying to like iron a shirt real quick and get ready for the show. So apologies for being late. That was the reason for that. But we do have the Rex Terra is in chat. Crunchy's in chat. Chevy, SSH Turtle, Tezrim is here. Paul Bellino, T-Dub, Phil Yarn, a brand new PlayStation VR owner. We got Hussein X. We've got Bullet Ape. Fluke. Fluke is here. Fluke is here, and it's a good thing that Fluke is here because I wanted to go to a comment that Fluke left on a previous episode of the show. And normally what I'll try to do is I'll sometimes try to take these comments and I'll try to take like a screenshot of it and frame it correctly and then convert it so I can have it in my little window here. And I have not done that. So apologies for that. I did not do that. But what I will do is I can just go to the actual page where it has my video. And so right now what I'm doing is I'm trying to see if I can find that Fluke comment where he made an interesting comment on Astro Bot. And I thought it was really quite interesting. So let me see if I can find that. Apologies that it's taking so long here, but eventually I will find this comment that Fluke left. Got to remember which show this. Okay, so here it is. So I got it. Okay, let me make sure I put that on mute. Or wait, let me put this on mute. And okay, so I'm going to go over to the web browser window and let's go ahead and take a look at this comment that Fluke left. Okay, so here it is. Might be kind of small for you guys to read. Apologies for that. But here is what Fluke had to say. This was 2 days ago. This was on episode 222, the Berlin Blitz VR episode. And Fluke says, let me go ahead and open that up. He kind of wrote a long diatribe here. So here's what he had to say. So my copy of Astro Bot turned up this morning. After the past couple of days of everyone going utterly crazy about it, I was looking forward to diving in. And yes, it's good. Very good. But has everyone gone batshit insane and lost their minds? This has been mentioned before, but it seems that as soon as a decent game comes out for VR, we're so desperate for proper quality content that the community loses their collective mind and overhypes it way beyond what it actually is. Astro Bot is a really good game. It's worth getting if you have PlayStation VR, but damn, it's not even remotely near being VR's Mario 64 moment. And no, it's not amazingly sharp looking that it looks like they've made it look better than it should. For me, it's what I expect a PSVR game to look like when they haven't had to cut back on the visuals resolution AA. Maybe it's because other PSVR titles sometimes have to scale back on image quality that it looks good compared to those, but it's still nowhere near as sharp looking as what you'll get on PC headsets. I just get the feeling that Upload VR 8.5 and Destructoid 7.5 are some of the sites that didn't just go, holy shit, a really great platformer in VR, 10 out of 10. I really don't know what Road to VR was smoking. However, if I had a YouTube channel, I'd be on a Uplay level rant right now. So that is Fluke. That was a couple of days ago. And you know, it's certainly an interesting comment there, and I might as well throw on an Astro Bot trailer since we're going to jump into this anyway. So let me go ahead and grab some Astro Bot trailer real quick here. I'll grab this one. So yeah, so Fluke kind of coming in there with the contrarian idea here on Astro Bot. And you know, I mean, a lot of his comments, so he's saying it's a good game. It's very good. He's just saying like people are going way the hell overboard. And all I can say is personally, I just got to call it the way I see it. So I'm going to call it the way I see it. I stick to my guns. I'm sticking to my guns. In fact, I'm sticking to my guns even more so than I ever have been because of the reality is I was just in Astro Bot last night, played more of Astro Bot last night. I got past the third boss, which is this bird, and I got to the level where there is a gigantic robot, and it's kind of Jack and the Beanstalk. It's like a Jack and the Beanstalk level with the giant robot. I got to that level, and then I got past that level, and I'm in the level now where it's kind of like a carnival. It's kind of like an amusement park, and I'm not changing my opinion in any way, shape, or form. In fact, if anything, I'm probably strengthening my opinion. I go back to what I said that very first day. I still think, now, is this VR's Mario 64 moment? No. Because if it was, there wouldn't be a debate. It would just be known. Like, nobody was debating when Mario 64 came out that it was a freaking killer app. Everybody knew that. There was no freaking debate back then. So if there is a debate, then that basically means that it's not. It's not the killer app you wanted it to be if there's any kind of a debate. A killer app has no debate. So I will agree with the fact that it isn't VR's Mario 64 moment. And you know what I was thinking last night as I was playing Astro Bot? One of the things that I thought about the Sega, I thought about Sonic CD on the Sega CD, which is going way, way back in time. But when Sonic CD came out for Sega CD, it was a major achievement for the Sega CD. It was a really big game for the Sega CD, and everybody kind of rallied around it. And it maybe wasn't the greatest. It wasn't the greatest thing in the world as far as Sonic CD, but it was a really good game. And I don't know, for some reason, I'm kind of reminded of that in relation to Astro Bot. It's kind of like the Sonic CD of the Sega CD, okay? So it's not Super Mario World. I will admit it. It's not Super Mario World, but I still think it's really good. And then Fluke says, I'm on World 4. It's a really good game, but it hasn't given me a moment that's caused me to stop and go, whoa, that's amazing. So Fluke, one of the questions I need to ask you, though, is, are you a platformer guy at all? Because there's a lot of people out there, they're not platformer guys. This isn't their genre. Maybe they'll play a platformer once in a blue moon, but they don't like really look forward to platformers. Like maybe they didn't even download Lucky's Tale right away, and they came to Lucky's Tale a little bit later, and maybe they weren't really that hyped for Moss, you know, because it's just a game with a little cute character running around. Not everybody's into this type of stuff. And I will be the first to admit, I've always been kind of a platformer junkie. Like since the days of 2D, I was into Sonic and Mario and Kid Chameleon and all these two-dimensional platformers. And then when we got 3D platformers, when we got Super Mario World and we got Spyro and we got Gex Enter the Gecko, which I really believe Gex Enter the Gecko on PlayStation 1, if that's the one I'm thinking about, is really underrated. And so I kind of got into 3D platformers as well. And then of course we got Ratchet and Clank, we got Jak and Daxter, and we got a number of 3D platformers a little bit later on as well. And I've been a fan of all of these. And so when I got my hands on like Lucky's Tale, it was a really huge deal for me, because when I first played Lucky's Tale and I'm just looking around at this magical world that I'm in, and the little fox is running around and everything is so colorful and beautiful and there's waterfalls and all that, I was really into it, man, because it was like, oh man, this is the Mushroom Kingdom. They've brought me inside the Mushroom Kingdom. But there's other people that have played Lucky's Tale and were like, it's okay. You know, it's okay. It's all right. You know, it's a cutesy little platformer. And so a Fluke, if you're one of those people that would have reacted more like that to Lucky's Tale, I could see you not thinking this is like some groundbreaking moment because maybe it's just not your bag any damn way. But if you are a platformer fan, and if you like ranted and raved about Lucky's Tale, if you ranted and raved about Moss, but you're just not feeling it with Astro Bot, I mean, that's perfectly fine. And everybody has their own opinion. And so, you know, and Fluke is saying it's still a very good game. So we can't get it lost. He's still saying it's a very good game. So that is Fluke's take. Tom Lloyd says Sonic was great. And you know, it's interesting because most often when we hear people talking about Astro Bot, usually they're comparing it to Mario. And they're saying, you know, there's a lot of Mario in Astro Bot, but I've noticed there's a lot of Sonic the Hedgehog actually in Astro Bot. I can't help. I'm playing through Astro Bot and I'm like, that reminds me of Sonic the Hedgehog. This reminds me of Sonic the Hedgehog. So there's actually quite a bit of Sonic in Astro Bot as well. I mean, it has a ton of Mario in it, no question about it, but there is a bit of Sonic as well. So anyway, that was Fluke's comment on that. And so Fluke says, yeah, I love a good platformer. I backed the Yooka-Laylee Kickstarter, for example. Moss was good, so was Lucky's Tale, and Astro Bot is better than both of those. It's just not the second coming. And but I think it's dramatically better than Moss and Lucky's Tale. Like, I think it is like Moss and Lucky's Tale are here, and Astro Bot is like here. Like, it's a whole nother world, in my opinion. That's my take. Because every single level I get into Astro Bot, every single level, like that level right there with the giant robot, man, that was super impressive. Like, I'm just like giggling to myself as I play it because I'm like, oh my God, this is just so damn good. My complaints with Astro Bot is, number one, the game is really, really easy. Number two, I really wish I could rewind. And sometimes the camera does cause a little bit of issues. But other than that, I love it. Chevy says, my take, I love Anthony's youthful enthusiasm for new experiences. I wish life hadn't whipped it out of me like a lot of us programs. Well, Chevy, you know what? I used to be very much the glass is half empty kind of a guy. I really was that guy. I was a negative guy. I was a pessimistic guy more often than anything. And I've recently tried to switch it around and tried to go down the other road and try to be like that happy-go-lucky guy. Everything is fun. Everything is exciting. I've really tried to do this. And you know what? It's helped me. It really has helped me. And I think I have switched a little bit. Although one of the downsides of that is I might be looking for too much of the good things in every game. So like being an internet critic that is a critic of these games, I really try to look for the good things in these games, and sometimes you kind of need to talk about the negatives, and so that's the only downside there as far as that goes. Okay, so do we have any news stories or anything? Not really, but what I do have is I have a little montage that I whipped up for a game that is called Scraper First Strike. And so I'm going to go ahead and put this on the screen. So Scraper First Strike, this is a game that I've known about for quite some time. This was an old logo that it has. It's being brought to us by Labrodeck Studios. And these are some old screenshots. I'm going to go ahead and go to full screen mode right now. Okay, so these are some old screenshots of Scraper. It's like Skyscraper, but it's called Scraper First Strike. These are some old screenshots from a long time ago. Very much work in progress screenshots. Now we have the new logo. It is called Scraper First Strike Episode 1. That is the new logo right there. We have a couple of new screenshots. Here's a couple of new screenshots for it. And then we're going to go into the trailer that has been released for this. It's a PlayStation VR trailer for the game. Okay, let's go ahead and check this out. Then we can talk about it right afterwards.
What do we know about LCFR? or Cypher, as he calls himself. We know Icarus Laboratories produced him 7 years ago, and that he's the most powerful and advanced AI ever created. We know they built him to oversee millions of Humec robots and to manage our Scraper megacities. Icarus assured us the only path forward was to put the fate of humanity in his hands. But when Cypher says he'll take care of us, do we really know what he means?
Okay, so that is Scraper First Strike, Episode 1, and that is coming December to all the major platforms. It is coming to PlayStation VR. This is a Twitch stream here with some actual gameplay. I'm going to go ahead and turn the volume down, but I'll go ahead and let that play in the background. So here's the thing. Scraper is a game we heard about a long time ago, and it's one of these games we were keeping our eye on but weren't really covering very closely. And this is a game that has made it onto the top 40 most wanted for Oculus Rift, the top 40 most wanted for HTC Vive. We didn't know that it was a PlayStation VR game until very recently. We found out there's a PlayStation VR version as well. And this is apparently coming in December of this year, so it's a couple of months away. We don't have a locked-in release date for it. And what it's kind of about is basically you're in, it's like almost 100 years into the future, and humanity has kind of coalesced into these mega cities, these giant cities with ridiculously gigantic skyscrapers that go way the hell up. And basically all of humanity is living in these skyscrapers. It's kind of like a Robocop kind of a future. It kind of reminds me, you know, like how Robocop is Detroit, and it's kind of this future Detroit. It's like a militarized thing, and like everybody's living in these giant mega cities. That's kind of what Scraper First Strike is all about. And so what your mission is there is this AI, Cypher, that has been designated as like the caretaker of humanity, but you know, it's going wrong, and these AI robots are like killing citizens and all this stuff. And so what you're supposed to do is you're kind of working from skyscraper to skyscraper, going through them level by level, and you're taking out these AI enemies. And I don't know a ton about it other than that, but that's kind of the premise. This is some Twitch gameplay that somebody did, but let's listen in on this for just a second. Let's check this out for a sec.
Still inspecting stuff. There we go. Now he's very nice. He was a little bit rude before, but we had to kind of, you know, scold him. Oh, this looks really cool out here. Yeah, I do think. Yeah, now there's the actual cars out. Yeah, I'm like, I knew it was nice before, but I'm like, there's something missing. Like, what about the moon and the moon looks cooler now. Yeah, there was a little bit of like a crescent.
Yeah, so not super exciting on this Twitch stream here, but they're just kind of like moving through. It shows you a little bit of the way the levels work, and there is free locomotion, so that is good news. So the game does have free locomotion. I don't know that I'm like super hyped at all for this game, Scraper First Strike. Like, it's not very high on my personal most wanted list, but you know, this is a new game. We do want to stay abreast of this situation. We want to know about all the big games that are coming down the pipe. And this is one that is scheduled for September. And it's another PlayStation game that we can add to the mix as well. So there is a game that we can take a look at and remember about that game and keep our eye on that one. So that is Scraper First Strike. And let's see here. What else did I want? Oh, Paradise Decay says, have I had a chance to play Evasion yet? No, I haven't. In fact, I forgot to contact Archiac and try to get a code for Evasion. So actually, right after this show, I need to contact them and see if I can get myself a code for the game and try to get some gameplay on Evasion prior to tomorrow, prior to its availability. Sometimes I do that. Oftentimes, I forget about games until just about they're about to come out, and then I'll try to get a code like at the last minute and try to check the game out like right before it comes out. So that's kind of what I'm doing here. And Cedric Harris 12 says, hey, he just got a 2080. He does have a 1070 for sale. You know what, Cedric? I appreciate looking out for me, bro. I'm trying to wait. I'm going to try to wait for a 1080 Ti. I really am. I'm going to try to wait for a 1080 Ti. And Great Tantrum says, Evasion is good, but not at that price. And Chris Gould says, Evasion is getting a real drubbing on PSVR. Chris, are you talking about like in Australia, like people are already getting their hands on it? Or are you talking about people that got an early look at Evasion? And Kev Gretz says, getting meh reviews on PSVR. Well, remember, actually, let me throw on that one Evasion trailer we had, because there was that one PlayStation Underground trailer that I would often show if we were talking about Evasion, and that trailer actually made it look pretty good. Like it looked, yeah, this is Evasion on PlayStation Insider. Okay, so this is the trailer I was talking about right here. This is where they're playing it on PlayStation Insider, and they're using the PlayStation aim controller. You know, they're using the aim controller there, and I watched all of this little Insider thing, and it actually looks pretty cool in here. But I do have to admit, I'm kind of surprised by the price. I really am. 40 bones, like that. Like if you're gonna price your game at 40 bones, you're basically saying your game is on the same level as like Lone Echo and Defector and, you know, like really big primetime games like, you know, Talos Principle, really big games. And if you're going to price yourself at $39.99, you better really bring it, in my opinion. That's kind of the case that we're in right now. But at the same time, I mean, a lot of these developers, they've spent so much money and so much development resources on bringing these games out, getting these games out, that they feel completely justified in pricing it at $39.99. And they really, I mean, all developers can price games at any price they want to. It's up to them. It's their prerogative. They're just going to suffer whatever the marketplace realities are of that. For example, Smash Hit Plunder. I mean, I was incredibly shocked that Smash Hit Plunder was like 25 pounds or 30 pounds or whatever it is in the UK right now, you know, for Smash Hit Plunder. And I said, look, I like Smash Hit Plunder, but I like it if it was like 10 pounds. And so price is a factor. Price is a reality. We were just talking yesterday with Noah. Everybody was saying, Noah, dude, buy yourself a PlayStation VR. You got a PS4, get yourself a PlayStation VR. And he was talking about money is an issue. Money, you know, money's an issue. Not everybody can buy every little thing that comes down the line. And so pricing is relatively key in this situation, to be sure. One other thing I wanted to mention in regards to like having guests, and so I want to put this out there for anybody that maybe wants to come on this show as a special guest. Now, you can be a guest for an entire episode, or you can come on for 10 or 15 minutes, or for half of the episode or whatever, but we now have the ability to have guests. So, like, for example, Paradise Decay, dude, if you want to Skype in, man, go ahead, let me know. We can Skype you in and get you on here, and we can talk about some of the news stories that are going on, so we can do that. I've reached out to Sebastian of MRTV. We just had Epix was on VR Roundtable yesterday. We had an episode with Epix, and I'm going to reach out to Epix and say, Epix, dude, if you want to come on and talk quickly on here about like some of the latest news stories and stuff, it's all possible now. So I can have special guests now. Right now, I can only do basically one guest at a time. Paradise says, I'm too shy. Ah, dude, you be doing all kinds of videos now. And you have some videos where you're showing your mug on screen, so it's not that, right? But yeah, well, the good news is somebody that wants to come on as a guest, and I'll even extend that to like people in chat. Like if Fluke wants to come on sometime, if Tom Lloyd wants to come on sometime. Now, when it comes to people in chat, it might be better just to have you guys on for like 10, 15 minutes and then see if you want to come on some more than that. But one of the good things about it is I can carry the load for the most part in doing the show and talking about things, and it just kind of have somebody else that can come in. You can kind of be the, you know, like I'm doing the play-by-play and you'd kind of be the color guy. You know what I'm saying? So you would be the John Madden and I'm the Al Michaels. So that's kind of how we would do it. So the person that does guests doesn't have to be like an incredibly talkative person. So you can possibly reach out to me if you want to try to do that. And so anybody that does want to reach out to me, there's a couple of ways to do that. You can go ahead and shoot me an email at info@vrgamerankings.com. You can also send me a private message on Reddit. My Reddit name is Anth, A-N-T-H 916, and it's capital A for Anth. So Anth 916, that's my Reddit name. So you can shoot me a private message on Reddit or email me info@vrgamerankings.com. And basically you just need to have Skype. I'm using Skype right now. Skype works relatively easy. Finally figured out how to do that. Right now, though, I only really understand how to do one person at a time. So I don't know that I'm going to be doing shows with like 5 different people that are joining because it makes it a lot more complicated. But I can do one person. So I have cracked that code, at least until Microsoft F's it up and ruins everything, and then I'll have to learn something else. But Tezram says Skype works? Yeah, it does. I figured out how to use Skype. You know how I figured it out, guys? So the problem that I was having before with Skype is every time I tried to do it, I was having a problem because the main webcam that I'm using is OBS is using it. Tezram says, Anthony, this isn't 2003. I know, but see, I've learned how to use Skype to do it, and I haven't learned how to use anything else. I was trying to learn how to use Discord. Me and Noah were in Discord, and we were trying to figure out how to set it up in Discord, and it wasn't working out very easily. Somehow figured out how to do it in Skype, so Skype is working. So, you know, Skype works for now, and all it matters is what works. As long as it works, who really cares, right? That's kind of my thought process there. But why don't we go ahead and take a look at some of the different... Chris Gould says, someone hit me in the face with a hammer yesterday and no one asked, otherwise sure. Okay, what I was going to say is we can bounce over to Upload VR and see if there's any news stories that are going on. It's kind of slow. You know, it's Monday and usually a lot of big stories don't pop off on Monday, but let's go ahead and check out Upload VR. So they do have an Evasion review, redefining bullet hell shooters with VR chaos. And let's click on this and see what kind of score they gave it. Positives, excellent gameplay, great as a co-op shooter, 5-hour campaign with horde mode, some light replayability. Negatives, not much class progression. Gameplay gets repetitive by the end. Visually looks a bit subpar. And probably the biggest negative is it costs 40 bones. Like some people don't believe you can talk about the price. I believe you can talk about the price. They did give it an 8 out of 10, which that's pretty strong. You know, that is pretty strong for them. So they did give it an 8 out of 10 because they only gave Astro Bot an 8.5, right? And they give this an 8 out of 10. So this is just a tiny bit less than Astro Bot, right? I don't know about that, but yeah, I feel like price can enter the conversation. I really do. I know some people believe like, no, you shouldn't care. The game could cost $1,000 or it can cost $1, and you need to judge each game individually. No, I'm sorry. I'm going to judge price along with it. That's just the way I look at it. Ubisoft's Assassin's Creed Escape Room is location-based VR at its collaborative best. Yeah, we did hear about this a little while back, that Ubisoft is, we saw that weird trailer that we couldn't figure out what was going on there, and then we realized, oh, this isn't a game, this is for location-based entertainment. And so Ubisoft is starting off with Assassin's Creed for their escape room stuff. So that is going on. And then Vallejo has raised $31 million for industrial VR headset with human eye resolution. So yeah, that is the Finnish startup that I believe the way they were doing it is they were having a little tiny screen that was going to be right in the middle that was like super high resolution, and then like lower resolution around it. So kind of like foveated rendering, but kind of cheating in a way. And they have raised an additional 31 million, I guess, to continue to pursue this. So that's good. That's good. So, but this is an industrial unit. Like, this is not going to be hitting consumer VR anytime soon. And then they have a little article here on what is it going to take for location-based VR to succeed. And Magic Leap, of course, we talked a lot about Magic Leap yesterday. The developer conference will be live streamed. And of course, we did see that footage yesterday. 8 or 9 seconds of Dr. Gordborts. We did see a little bit of that footage. This is Arthan's VR or Arthan's VR, not sure which way they pronounce it. But, one of the things I've been noticing here, one of their stories is Sariento VR is coming to Oculus Quest. So this is kind of big news. If it's been confirmed as one of the Oculus Quest games, we continue to get more and more games being confirmed as coming to the Oculus Quest. Pretty soon I'm going to have to make a top 20 most wanted Oculus Quest games, because we're eventually going to have 20 Quest games that have been confirmed. We're not quite there yet. And then the other thing we see here is that Sariento VR is coming to PlayStation VR in 2019, in Q1 of 2019. We kind of already knew this, but this is one of the things that we're seeing is a lot of these games are coming to PlayStation VR now. For example, Scraper. We didn't know that Scraper was coming to PlayStation VR because we had mostly heard that Scraper was just Vive and Oculus Rift. We thought it was a PC VR title, but then we find out it is coming to PlayStation VR. And guess what else is coming to PlayStation VR, guys? In Death. Yes, I was on Solfar Studios' website not too long ago. I forget what I was looking up something, and I happened to notice that In Death is coming to PlayStation VR. So, I mean, you want to talk about a really good game. I think that game will run well on PSVR. I think it'll work well on PSVR. It is very much a gamer's game. And so if all you own is a PlayStation VR, you're kind of in a relatively decent situation, because most of the prime time PC VR releases are going to head your way. Now, are they going to be watered down to a degree? Absolutely they are. They are going to be watered down to a degree, but they are going to be available. Okay, Tom Lloyd says, what's your Skype name, Anthony? My Skype name is, I think it's, hold on, I got to double check. I think it's Anthony N916. Yeah, okay, Anthony N916. Anthony N916 is my Skype name. And so you can send me a request on Skype, and I'll go ahead and confirm that, and then I can add you in. And yeah, if you want to do a Skype call and get on the show, we can definitely do that. We'll see if Tom Lloyd has the chops to be on a program. But no, I mean, I'm absolutely game for a lot of people that are in chat. Terry Blanchard, maybe Terry Blanchard could hop on the show sometime. Hussein X, oh, here we go. Okay, Tom Lloyd just sent me a contact request. So I'll go ahead and accept this. Accept. Okay, so I just added Tom Lloyd. And Tom, if you want to start a video call, I mean, I don't know if you're in front of a webcam right now, but you could start a video call right now, and I'll go to that other window and try to dial you in and see if we can get it going. Or we could do it on a future episode, of course, no question about it. But yeah, I'm game for all kinds of different people coming on this show. I think it would be more exciting to bring some other people on. But I'm not going to turn this into a show where it's always guests coming on. But having the option of it, I think is a good thing. And one of the things I have to do too, as far as like having guests on, Terry Blanchard says, uh-oh, I'm scared. One of the things I've thought about though, in terms of having guests on the show, is all I have right now is one window for guests. Like, I'll show you what I'm talking about. I have my little, this is my little special guest window, right? And so the guests can come over into this little white square over here. And this is the only window that I've made for having special guests. So if I go to like full screen trailer, or if I go to this with my little video window, I don't have a video window for the guest yet. And so I need to add some more stuff here. I'm going to have to add a bunch more options so that when we start having guests on a more frequent basis, we can go to like the web browser window, for example. Like right here, web browser with video window. I need to add like another little, maybe another little window over here on this side for the special guests. So we'll do some stuff like that. But I'm definitely excited about it. Tom Lloyd says he's eating peaches and cream right now, but soon, a future episode, he definitely will join us. So yeah, that would be cool. I'm game for all of that. And, you know, maybe we'll discover some hidden talent. Maybe we will discover the next great YouTuber as somebody that will be a guest on our show. So that would be super cool. I have no problems with it. And also, you know, one of the cool things about having some of you guys in chat come on the show is we have a lot of regular people that come on the show all the time, right? A lot of regular people that keep showing up in chat. And I think it's kind of cool for everybody in chat to get a little bit more of a knowledge of who this person is, what they sound like, what they talk like, kind of their inside takes, rather than just the words on the screen, the comments that they leave. So that would be kind of cool to have some people on. So not a bad idea to do that. And sometimes it's not going to work very well. Sometimes we're going to have guests that are going to come on and they're just not going to be the most entertaining guests or whatever, and it might not work out that great, but it's not that big of a, you know, I don't consider it to be like any kind of make or break kind of thing. So I feel like the more the merrier, you know, let's do this. Sebastian does Discord chat on his Saturday shows. Yeah, I should probably learn how to do some of these other tricks. And speaking of Sebastian, I'm hoping Sebastian's going to come on one of these episodes pretty soon. I have reached out to him, and he said he would like to come on one of these daily vlogs. He also wants to be a guest on VR Roundtable, so we're going to try to have him on VR Roundtable when we have another opening, when we have an empty chair. We're definitely going to try to get him on there. Okay, so I thought I would bounce over to Road to VR real quick. And let's see what's going on here at Road to VR. So bouncing over here, Alchemy Labs has revealed experimental AR mobile spectator app for VR games. That's kind of interesting. Haven't read this story, so won't get into it. And Beat Saber is now the 7th best rated Steam game of all time. That's kind of crazy. We did hear this story about Stuxnet documentary 0 Days VR. It did win an Emmy. I'm super happy for that. I think it's a really good VR experience. If you guys haven't tried that out yet, you should really try it out. And they have the same story here about Varejo has raised another $31 million to further develop their bionic display headset. So work continues on that. And let's see, what else can we do? We can bounce over to the Vive subreddit, of course, and get some info going on over here. And the number one thing that's going on the Vive subreddit today is this thread, anyone else getting burned? And I didn't know what this was about. I thought it was maybe like some kind of HTC support thing that was going on. And then I clicked on it and I saw this guy's head. Yeah, see how this guy has a little burn spot on the top of his scalp? So a pro tip for bald people: the Vive wireless adapter gets hot with prolonged use. This guy got about an hour and a half into Oregon Quarter, which is a freaking awesome game, by the way. I love Oregon Quarter. I just love the vibe, man. The vibe of Oregon Quarter is a depressing, overbearingly depressing kind of environment. Just a drab, dreary, horrible place. And I love it. I love it for that, because it really gives me that feeling, and I love that. But he was in Oregon Quarter. He started to feel some pain on the top of his head, and he realized that he was cooking his own scalp. The numbness tells me that he, in fact, has given himself a first-degree burn. So, yeah, you guys need to be careful out there, man. If you got the Vive wireless adapter, MainFan was telling me that he got his hands on the Vive wireless adapter. He's had the Vive wireless adapter for right now. And one of the things that he's done is, I think he said he was going to get some foam, some like foam padding, and then he was going to get some heat resistant like duct tape type stuff and wrap that around the foam padding, and then he was going to put that in between the Vive wireless adapter and his head, and he was hoping that would work out. And I haven't heard back from MainFan yet if that has worked. And so, you know, this heat thing is somewhat of an issue. So let's go ahead and see what some people are talking about in chat. Push the Button says, I'm going to have a VR party. What game should I have for that? Does anyone know? I will have 2 PC VR units. One game I would recommend, obviously Beat Saber, but what about Electronauts? Because Electronauts would be super cool for a party, especially Push the Button. If you got a couple of big tower speakers, like, you know, big speakers where it's almost like you're having music for the party, you can actually set somebody up in Electronauts as basically the DJ, and they can make a lot of great music doing that, you know. So that would be, and it's kind of fun, and you can have people cycle in and out and do that. So I kind of recommend Electronauts. What are some other party games we should think of for Push the Button? And Paradise Decay says, at Chris Gould, I would love to see indie devs. How would Anthony like Primordian devs on the show, for example? Sure, I would love to talk to various devs on this show. In fact, I'm actually going to reach out to, there's this guy in the arcade community, Ken Williams, I believe is his name. Does anybody know who Ken Williams is? I believe he's based in the UK, and he's like really active in the VR arcade community. And I know Ken Williams was making a comment at one time to one of the VR Roundtable episodes that we did where we were talking about VR arcades, and he was saying that there's a lot of misconceptions about the VR arcade industry. And I thought to myself, you know what, maybe I could have Ken Williams guest on my show one time as a guest, and I could talk to him about the whole VR arcade. Kevin Williams. Okay, Kevin Williams. My bad. Kevin Williams. I knew it was K and Williams. I knew it was something like that. Okay, Kevin Williams. Kevin Williams maybe could guest on the show, and we could talk about the VR arcade industry and some of the misconceptions and what it takes to have a successful VR arcade and that type of stuff. So I'm going to try reaching out to some of these people. I'm not going to go too far down the developer road, because one of the downsides of having developers on is, like, if we're talking about news and stuff, a lot of developers want to stay very safe with their comments. And I like to keep things a little bit more free-flowing and, like, just talk about whatever. Like, you can go ahead and cuss. You can go ahead and be your real self. And sometimes developers are very cautious about that. And so they kind of be, you know, they're a little bit careful there. But I don't mind having developers on from time to time as well. So that could be a good idea. Absolutely. So let's see. What was I going to get back to? I was going to read some other comments, but now they've gone too far down the road. So let's go ahead and go back to the Vive subreddit real quick and see if there's anything else going on here. The embargo lifted. My Evasion review. That's Ben Plays VR. So yeah, we are getting some Evasion reviews coming out. My apologies that I didn't get a code in advance. I should already be talking about that today. That's all right. And Twilight Path, over before it began. Let me see what this guy is saying. Played through Twilight Path, and the game is gorgeous with beautiful environments to look at and some clever puzzles, but that's it. Now, almost any puzzle game like this usually gives you a simple, easy version of the puzzle to show the controls and then builds it up. The problem with Twilight Path is that it ends before it even tries to give you more complex puzzles. Yeah, that is one of the downers of Twilight Path, is it's not super long. You know, it really isn't super long. And one of the things this guy says is the game felt like it had so much potential, but it was designed for at most a 1 or 2 hour tech demo. I guess the nice thing is you can easily finish it in the 2-hour refund period. Nah, man, that is not good. That is bad karma, bro. Don't you guys believe in bad karma? I honestly, I'm going to be serious here for a second. If you guys are buying games on Steam and you're using that 2-hour refund policy as a way to demo games, that's not cool. That's not cool. I think if you ask 90% of the developers out there, 90% of the developers will say, nah, bro, that's not cool. Now, if you legitimately buy the game, with the intention of, I have every intention of keeping this game, I am going to keep this game, I bought this game, I'm into this game, and you play it for a half an hour and it's just garbage, that's one thing. Go ahead, refund the game, no problem there. But if you literally go through the entire game and beat the game and then get your money back, and you think, like some of these people that do that, like some people have it in their head. Paul Smith says, I like how this show isn't safe. Yeah, this is not safe. I say a lot of things. I put my foot in my mouth a lot. I go out on a limb quite a bit, and I probably screw myself sometimes with some of the stuff I say, but you know what? That's the way I like to do it. Like right now, I'm going to go out on a limb right now and talk about this idea. People have this idea in their heads that they can get over on somebody else or something, or getting over on the man. And I'm going to go into a slight little idea here in terms of like psychology and stuff. There's no getting over. There's no getting over. If you think you're getting over on somebody, you're getting over on yourself. I know people that cheat on their taxes, and they cheat on their taxes and they brag about it. Like they'll brag about it to me. I know somebody that cheats on their taxes and they brag about how they save themselves an extra $5,000 by cheating on their taxes, and they think they're getting over on Uncle Sam. You know, I'm getting over on the man, bro. I'm getting over, man. But you know what? It's my opinion. Now, I know this is like almost getting into like metaphysical type shit, but in my opinion, you're going to pay that $5,000 one way or another. Something's going to happen in your life. You're going to pay that $5,000. There's no getting over, y'all. There's no getting over. So if you're going to buy a game and play the full 2 hours and return it and get your money back, you're only getting over on yourself. And these devs are not a fan of that. I'm not a fan of that. And you could disagree. You can disagree with what I'm saying here. And you could believe, no, you can get over. You can get away with murder, man. There's people that got away with murder. Look at O.J. Simpson. He got away with murder. I don't think anybody gets away with murder, because if you murder somebody, don't you think those people are laying in their bed at night every single night and they're having visions of the murder that they did? They're having visions of killing that person, and it freaking haunts them. Not just when they go to bed at night, but all throughout the day, every day of their life, they're being haunted by shit. You can't get over on anything. So the magic rule is treat everybody the way you would like to be treated. So imagine you're a dev, you come out with a game that only lasts an hour and 45 minutes, and imagine thousands of people buy your game, they play it for an hour and 45 minutes, and then they refund it. Like, if you were a dev, would you be happy about that? Okay, you would fucking hate that shit. You would be pissed as hell about that shit. So don't do something that would, you know, don't do something that you wouldn't do. Like, if somebody did that to you, you'd fucking be pissed by it. Don't do that. So anyway, that's my little metaphysical talk right here. That is the end of my preaching as far as that goes. But yeah, I don't know. I've always been kind of a believer in that. Paradise Decay says, Anthony is haunted every day by signing up for Uplay. Absolutely, man. I've never gotten over on Uplay. It bothers me. It hurts me with it. And Zip-On says, the problem with the Steam refund system is that Valve is still keeping the 33% cut. Oh, man, that makes it even worse. I didn't even know that. Oh, man, that makes it double worse. So those of you that are getting over, you are really getting effed. Chris Gould says, if you are super rich, taxes are optional. Okay, here's one thing I'll say about that, Chris Gould. When I'm talking about cheating on my taxes, I'm not talking about using loopholes. If you use tax loopholes, but I'm talking about people that are making shit up. I'm talking about people that are straight up making shit up, not using tax loopholes. If you use a million different tax loopholes, that's just intelligence. That's not getting over. That's just simple intelligence. But if you're literally making shit up, then that is a whole nother ballgame. So, you know, that's kind of my thought on there. Hussein X says, I have so many games in my library, never refunded any. And Hussein, I'm right there with you. I think I've refunded one game in my entire life on Steam, but I don't buy as many games as a lot of people do. And the reason I don't buy as many is because I don't think of it like a rental program. Like, there's people that literally, I swear to you, there are people that literally think of this refund policy on Steam as a straight up rental program or a straight up demo program. There's people that literally buy every fucking game that they're even remotely interested in just to check out an hour of it and then fucking refund it. And we just found out, I mean, who had it in chat? Steam still takes that 33% right there. Tom Lloyd says the 33% makes Steam a thief. So how is Steam getting over? How are they getting away with it? Well, here the thing is, Steam is not putting a gun to anybody's head and forcing them to be on Steam. So if you're going to play by Steam's rules, you got to deal with Steam's rules. So they will do what they got to do. It's kind of crazy how we got into this weird ass discussion at the very end of this show, huh? Isn't that kind of weird? Sometimes that happens like that. Tesram says, I only refunded one game. It was tagged as a VR game, but was a bad port. Game ran in my Vive in HD, locked to 60 frames. Yeah, dude, the thing about refunding, we know deep down inside whether or not we're justified in refunding a game. And so you know if you're justified, because if you refund it and you're truly justified, you will have no guilt. Like, you're not going to have any remorse, or you're not going to have any of this guilt that happens later on where you're kind of wondering, man, did I kind of do a fucked up thing? You know that you didn't do a fucked up thing if you never have any of those thoughts coming back to your head. So you feel pretty good about it. Gopher Chuck says, I've only refunded one game in the 12 years I've had Steam. Yeah, and there will be people that will complain and they'll say, but wait a minute here. Shouldn't every VR game have a demo? Well, every VR game doesn't have a demo, and there is this Steam refund system, so why can't I use that as my demo? And my answer to that is two wrongs don't make a right. Yeah, we should have demos for everything. There should be a timed demo for everything, even if it's only like 5 minutes. There should be a system like that. Unfortunately, we don't have that system. So I'll get off my high horse here. And it's funny how this little thread about Twilight Path, I had no idea what it was going to be about, but it ended up generating probably our most interesting discussion so far of this show today. It's just kind of weird how things like that will happen. You just never know. So I'm going to go back here to the Vive subreddit, see if there were any other little stories up on here that I thought was kind of interesting. Man, look at this title right here. Wireless Vive is amazing. PSA, don't install Viveport or activate the subscription to that piece of beep. So yeah, man, this is the hate that Viveport gets, you know? And so Alvin Wang Graylin, guys, whoever's over there at Vive, can you guys hire some programmers that can redesign Viveport from the ground up so there's no blue screens of death and things like that? Wouldn't it be nice if we lived in a world where Viveport didn't kill our PCs and it worked halfway decent? I would love to have Viveport. There's some probably good stuff on Viveport. It's not a bad deal. The idea behind Viveport is not a bad deal by any stretch of the imagination, but so many people are scared to death of it, and they have perfectly good reasons to be scared of death. Scared to death of it. I mean, absolutely. Okay, I'm switching over here to the Oculus subreddit, see if there was anything new popping off over here. And we do have a few shit posts, like this Black and White is finally here in VR. That is officially designated shit post there. A little bit about Alchemy Lab report, mobile spectator. That's kind of cool though, is like you could be playing VR and then somebody can be a spectator in your VR game, I believe, with like just using a phone and some kind of software. I think the game probably has to be designed to work with it in the first place. But yeah, that's a great idea. It's a really good idea. But anyway, folks, yeah, I'm just looking at random threads here, not really seeing much. So I'll go ahead and bounce back over to chat. Let's see what people are talking about. Chris Gould says, it is fair refunding if the game was falsely advertised, but not, Chris Gould, not if you go to it, if you go into your purchase knowing you got like a 65% chance of refunding the game, that is just a wrong deal. That's a wrong deal. If you go into the purchase, really the way it is if you go into a purchase with an honest, legitimate intention of buying the game and keeping the game, and then something happens that makes you want to return the game and it's a legitimate reason and you didn't play it for 2 hours, that's perfectly fine. But I know people that go into buying a game and they're thinking in their mind, they're thinking, you know what, there's an 80% chance I'm going to refund this, but there's a 20% chance I might. So who knows? I'm going to buy this game and maybe I'll get lucky. Maybe it'll be the 20% chance. Maybe it will blow me away beyond all my wildest expectations and I'll actually keep the game. But there's an 80% chance I'm not going to keep the game. If you're going into it with that kind of mindset, that's wrong. Don't go in, just don't even buy it. Don't even buy it. Now, if you have an 80% mindset that you're keeping it, that's a different story. I mean, this is my opinion and everybody has their own take and everybody's going to live with every decision that they make. Everybody lives with everything. So really you could do whatever you want. It's all good. You're going to live with the realities there. Paul Smith says, I'm too scared to get Viveport, but would love a subscription service, especially for experiences. Yeah, I've said this a million times. We got the Great C coming tomorrow. I'm going to be getting into that later today and I'm excited to check it out, but I'm kind of curious, like, are they going to charge 20 bucks for it? Are they going to charge 10 bucks for it? All these kinds of things, because I kind of think we do need a subscription service for these experiences so that we can create an ecosystem where it's profitable and we can continue to have all these great experiences like Dispatch. You know, think of all the really cool experiences like Blade Runner 2049, Memory Lab. You know, there's so many great experiences and most of them are free right now and we're enjoying all these wonderful freebies. But eventually these people got to get paid. Eventually these people got to get something for their investment in this thing. And we got to create an ecosystem that works for everybody. And I think a subscription thing would really work out. I think it'd be really nice. Testrum says, hey, Anthony, so you were playing with a Discord server. Does this mean that you have a server that you can invite us to soon? Well, Tezram, the whole plan was new channel, new name, new Discord server, everything, you know, on a certain day. And you know what? I got to go to the guy. There's a guy that's working on my logo, and I gotta finalize that thing out. So after this show, I got to do a couple of things. I got to play the Great C. I got to try to contact Archiac and get a code for Evasion so I can check that out. And I got to contact the guy that was working on my logo and be like, dude, are you done with my logo? So we can switch over to this new channel. I can get started on my new channel. And then the Discord could be the name of my new channel and all of that. So it is all coming. Trust me, it is all coming. It just, with me, sometimes things are slow. Look how long it took me to finally have guests on this show. So it does take a while. Tom Lloyd says, has he ever sold you on a game he was playing due to his review, Gopher? So, yeah, you know, I mean, sure, let's not throw rocks from glass houses, right? Yeah, I've probably, like, I can wonder myself if I've ever led people astray with any of my reviews or if getting free keys for various reviews cloud my judgment, you know, because we are human beings, man. We really are human beings. And when you get something free from some company, you're probably a tiny bit more likely to look for positives in that and look for good things in that and try to focus on the good things in that because somebody gave you a key and so you're trying to think positively. But really you should have your focus on your customer base and think about the people that are going to be buying this game with their hard-earned money. Think about the people that maybe can only buy a single game a month and they've got to be very careful with that. I've got a lot of noise in the background today. It's not my lawnmower guy, but I think it's the neighbor's lawnmower guy, so I'm a little bit sorry about that. Terry Blanchard says, a free 2080 Ti can cloud my judgment. Absolutely. Yeah, a free Magic Leap 1 maybe clouds Noah's judgment a little bit, right? So yeah, all of our judgments get a little bit. And Paradise Decay says, at VR Game Rankings, what about throwing rocks in VR glass houses? That could be an awesome experience. We need to do that. You know, it's weird. Speaking of Astro Bot, the first time you were in Astro Bot and your window got cracked, wasn't that pretty awesome? And like every time it happens, because your head as the player is in Astro Bot, and sometimes you're playing Astro Bot and there's things moving and it smacks right into your head, and then the glass cracks. That is really cool. It's a really cool effect. But I got to get out of here, folks. I've been going for over an hour. A bit of a shit show. We've been a bit all over the map here with this episode, but you know what? Hopefully it kind of worked out at the end. And I will be back tomorrow at 11 a.m., hopefully 11 a.m. on schedule this time. And hopefully with my thoughts on Evasion. I will absolutely have thoughts on the Great Sea. I will guarantee you that. And then hopefully some other stuff as well. So we'll see what happens on tomorrow's episode. And who knows, maybe we'll have a guest come by. I'm hoping Gary, if you're out there, Gary, if you hear me, I would love to have Gary come on as often as he wants. Gary, you could come on at any time if you want to just kick it for 10 minutes and jump in and talk a bit about news. I'd love to have Gary on. Chris, Steve, all the VR Roundtables all the VR Roundtable guys would love to have them on. And any of the other people in the VR gaming industry that's on YouTube, Tribal Instincts, Facepalm, like any of these guys. Anybody wants to come on VR Game Rankings, bro, hit me up, info@vrgamerankings.com, or just go ahead and throw me a private message on Reddit and we can get you onto the show. Will you have to download Skype? Yes, you will. Is it an ancient program that nobody wants to use anymore? Yes, it is, but we will deal with that. But anyway, guys, I will see you next time. Have a wonderful day. Take it easy. And do not rent games on Steam, guys. Don't do it. All right, we'll see you guys tomorrow. Take it easy. Have fun. Later. Yeah, I know Tribal is quit, but maybe you can come on here and shoot the shit for a minute. But anyway, guys, I'll see you tomorrow. Take it easy. Later.